It's good to have you join us on the program Insight, right here on Splash 105.5 FM. I have someone you probably would love to meet. He goes by the name Quadri Bidemi Olayinka. He's truly a man of many parts. A native of Ijebu-Ode in Ijebu-Ode local government area of Ogun State, southwest of Nigeria. He's a development strategist by profession and a social activist by inclination. His relentless passion for human development and nation building has taken him through myriads of experiences, both within and outside of the country, with a track record spanning close to 3 decades, with special focus on new development initiative and information management support. In fact, in the studio this morning, he gave me a book, Saving the Shape of State, The Living Thoughts of Obafemi Awolowo. Interesting for me that the foreword was written by late Chief Bola Ige. Yinka Quadri, welcome to Insight.
Thank you very much.
How are you today?
I'm fine.
I'm Olwaseun Akinola. I'll be engaging Yinka Quadri on what we call the new Nigeria. He has a belief that we can actually have a new Nigeria. And I'm wondering, how? Big question, isn't it? Yinka, a new Nigeria. What is a new Nigeria in your mind?
Thank you very much, my dear brother. A new Nigeria is a topic that's quite exciting to me. And anytime it's mentioned, you bring out the best in me. The new Nigeria is a dream. The new Nigeria is your capacity to envision a nation that stands tall among the nations of the world. The new Nigeria is about your capacity as a human being who is connected to God to see the latitude that the powers of earth and heaven can come together to realize in a dream. The new Nigeria is about a future that is prosperous, a future that is safe, that is secured, and that is very stable. It is possible. Nigeria can lead the continent, and I can tell you very well that it's about Africans' time to lead the world.
So now, the Nigeria that you are describing, that is safe, secure, prosperous, and can lead the African nation, when you began to talk about this, I just have in my head a nostalgic feeling of listening to Tafawa Balewa while he was speaking about Nigeria in the 60s, particularly in his speech at the independence. But that Nigeria that he envisioned that time, it's not the Nigeria we live in. We live in insecure Nigeria.
Unfortunately, the Nigeria of Tafawa Balewa, the Nigeria of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the Nigeria of Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Nigeria of those great Nigerians was stillbirth. It was not born.
For stillbirth?
It was a stillbirth.
What do you mean?
Well, what I mean basically is that from the day Nigeria got its independence till today, there has been a gradual and regular deterioration of the Nigerian nation.
From the beginning?
From the beginning, right from the beginning. Don't forget that just about 6 years into independence, there was a bloody civil war where brothers rose up against brothers, sisters rose up against sisters, people killing one another in the same country. Something must have led to that. There was a groundswell from the day of independence that culminated into that revolution. Well, whatever you want to, some call it revolution, some call it chaos, some call it anarchy, but whatever it was a time in the history of this nation that we had the opportunity to cause a rebirth, where we had the opportunity to recreate ourselves. But unfortunately, that was also lost on us. We lost the opportunity of independence. We lost the opportunity of the Civil War. We lost the opportunity of a re-emerged democracy between 1979 and 1983. We lost the opportunity of a military intervention that could have used the military fiat to bring things together to solve the national problems. And by 1999, we had another opportunity for the civil leaders to intervene in the affairs of the nation. And up till today that I'm talking to you, the dream is not born.
Did you even have a dream?
That's what I'm saying. Because there's no dream, it can't be born.
So there's no Nigerian dream?
There's no dream.
So how can a nation survive without a dream?
Ask me. That is the reason why today we are look, it is a tried saying that those who don't know where they are going are just fine anywhere. And that's the case with Nigeria as I speak to you. And indeed, that's the case with Africa. Indeed, that's the case with the black race. We don't have where we're going. So we're just fine anywhere we find ourselves.
Adrift.
And we are just on the high seas, completely adrift without a compass. Indeed, since we don't even have where we are going, a compass is even useless to us. Because when you don't even know where you're going, what is the use of a compass?
So how did we have a set of leaders? We can let's even start from 1960, where we got independence. We can say that's an opportunity. You said this. How did we have a set of leaders who probably did not have where they were going, or they had, and we didn't even know how to get there?
Incidentally, I may not be in a position to profile those reasons because I wasn't there. But one thing I know very clearly is that if they had a vision for us, maybe there will be something that we can continue to pursue even while they are no longer around. But incidentally, say for one or two of them, I don't want to mention names because I don't want to sound tribalistic. Say for one or two of them, there's really none that has been able to come up. Even Nigeria as an institution over the years had not been able to document its own aspiration as an organism, as a political organism that is desirous of improving its own self. Today, as I speak to you, you can't have that. Today, as we speak, I don't know about the Nigerian vision. I don't know about the Nigerian dream. It's nowhere to be found. But like I said, one or two of them in their time tried to do something, some bit of documentation here and there, which we will give credence to. But it was a vision that was personal, though he tried in his own little way to circulate it, but how successful I can't say. But today, as I speak to you, Nigeria is such a child who has refused to grow.
So now the verdict for you now is that Nigeria has no dream and no aspiration. If
you think there is, please tell me.
Up until now.
You tell me if you think there is any dream. You tell me, what are those dreams? What are those dreams? What is that dream that the man in Calabar is having today? That the man in Sokoto is sharing? That the man in Maiduguri is sharing? That the man in Abakaliki is sharing? Tell me, the man in Warri or Urumola in Port Harcourt. Tell me that dream that you are sharing, that I am sharing, that the Almajiri in the north is sharing, that the poor man in the south is sharing, that the rich men are even sharing. Tell me, where is that dream? Where is that dream? Where is that singular dream that can bring all of us together as a people?
I'm looking for a Nigerian in terms of someone or a set of people who share the same thinking and thought of being a Nigerian or Nigerians, as it were, in principle and in practice.
Well, I wouldn't want to dwell so much on assumptions and speculations. But one thing I can only tell you today is that the concept of Nigerianness is only, as I speak to you, a definition given to us by some aliens, and that we have somehow found ourselves revolving within that geography for the past 50-something years that Nigeria became independent. Beyond the name of a nation, there should be some symbolisms. There should be some spiritual attachment that a citizen must have to his nation. And that is the significant thing between the Nigerian man and probably the American man, the British man, and maybe the Canadian man.
And you feel and know that we do not have such attachment.
Look, how can you have an attachment even if you are the son of a father, the son of a man? Imagine the man just gave birth to you and threw you on the streets. Oh yes, sometimes you remember you have a father, but you are so preoccupied with the issues of life that you hardly have time for that father. Similar thing with the Nigerian nation. Nigeria has given birth to millions of children. Today, as we speak, it has zero responsibility towards those children. And today, those children are becoming its own problems. Apart from being a menace to the world, Those children are becoming its own problems, and those children are trying to survive despite the Nigerian nation. So, because of the precarious situation that the average Nigerian youth has found himself or herself, it's difficult for him or her to have any attachment to the nation, because the nation as it were today is not giving anything to that child. It's not giving anything to support that child. It's not giving anything, no direction, no support, no inspiration. So where are we going to locate the attachment? There's no attachment. So the only thing, when you are a Nigerian, you are just a Nigerian because you are called a Nigerian, not because you have any belief or any feeling towards the entity called Nigeria.
Do you blame Nigerians for that?
I dare not. I dare not, because I'm realistic. And like I told you, the Nigerian nation has failed its people, not even the younger ones alone.
Is Nigeria in trouble?
Oh, Nigeria has gone past trouble. Nigeria, as I speak to you, is on the verge of a major catastrophe. I'm not being an alarmist. Please pardon me if I sound a bit harsh and hostile. The truth today is that Nigeria is a keg of gunpowder. Nigeria is not sitting on a keg of... I want you to get me very clearly. Nigeria is not sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Nigeria is indeed a keg of gunpowder that is excited and that is waiting to explode.
What do you mean?
Today, as I speak to you, some people are called the Niger Delta Avengers. Some people are called Boko Haram. Some people are called the Shiites Muslim. Some people are called the Masob. Some people are called the OPC. Some people are called the Middle. There's another group now, the Middle Belt Forum. They call themselves Middle Belt Forum or something. You know, Nigeria is at the verge of the last stage of social disintegration. We have lost faith in our systems, so to the point that we are now forming caucuses here and there to survive the Nigerian hostility. So, what you need is a little trigger here or there, and the worst will happen. May God not let that happen to us anyway.
When you look at all of this, you will throw the problem or the sort of the problem to the leadership.
Yes, everything rises and falls on leadership. That is the theory of management.
But I also believe that a people get the leadership they deserve.
That is also very true.
So how do we reconcile the two in the case of Nigeria?
Yes, it's very easy to reconcile. You know, what we only need to do as a people is for us to begin to get conscious of the need for this mess to stop. And there's no doubt that the leadership as it stands today has failed the Nigerian nation. No doubt. And when I'm talking about leadership today, I'm not talking about Ajumobi as the governor. I'm not talking about Buhari as the president. I'm not talking about some local government chairman. I'm talking about the entire leadership of the Nigerian nation. Those who have been there from 1960 till date. I mean, if today as we speak, there's even no vision for the nation, then look, as a Christian, there's something that we commonly quote in the Bible: for lack of vision, the people perish. Today, as I speak to you, there's no such vision for the Nigerian nation. There's no such vision for the Nigerian community. There's no such vision for even any state in the Nigerian nation. Even communities, different communities in the country today, as we speak, none of them have any vision for self, not to talk about for the collective. So what I'm saying basically is that leadership is critical. Even when the situation is bad and you want to correct it, you still need leadership. The only challenge is that it may be a new set of leaders that you need to correct a bad situation. Sometimes the bad leaders can repent and begin to put right things that they have put wrong. That's an option. Another option is also now that new leaders will emerge from the masses of the people. Those who are no longer happy with the status quo. People who are feeling that, look, this country must not break down on our head. They will now begin to come together. There must be a convergence of like minds, committed and appropriately commissioned, to now come into the fray and begin to build a new set of values, a new set of followers, a new set of crowd. I mean, a new set of people that can intervene and make this country work. So it's always a thing. It's always a thing of leadership. It's either the old leaders do the right thing, or new leaders will come and do the right thing. But it's always a thing of leadership. I mean, followers never take the initiative.
This is still inside. Yinka Quadri is still here. Professor Falola, a reputable historian, said that we are moving into knowledge economy now. Do you think we are ready for knowledge economy?
Well, it's not. Our readiness is not even. Our readiness is forced upon us today, as I speak to you.
Forced.
It's not even a matter of choice. So I'm confirming that not only that we have to move into a knowledge economy. It's a circumstance that has been forced on us by our circumstances.
We have no choice.
Because look, Nigerians are no longer fools today. If you're talking to a Nigerian that, no politician can come and tell you anything today that you will readily believe in.
They say tell Nigerians because they're poor.
No, they tell Nigerians and Nigerians respond because Nigerians don't have options yet. There are no better options.
Okay, so.
But the situation is throwing up options as I speak to you.
What options do we have?
I just told you about Leaf. The project that we're running.
We've always had people tell us egalitarian society, free society, but have we ever followed that?
But do you now know that there's a divergence here? That there is a clear-cut deviation from the norm here?
You believe people will still not vote along the line of money bags?
They will, so long as they still don't have any better option. Look, if you throw up one Mr. Jagoda here and Mr. Barao here, and you're asking me to vote for either of them, invariably, one of them will become the winner. But if there's a Mr. Jagoda here, there's a Mr. Barao here, and there's one Mr. Nice Man here, you will be amazed that the nice man, even in the last election, look back at the 2015 election.
It was a bandwagon effect.
But it wasn't it wasn't as much of a money-driven election as it used to be.
Which party didn't spend money?
But which one spent more?
Which one did not even give money to people?
According to you, if I'm not getting you wrong, you're saying elections are money-induced.
Monetized.
Exactly. And I'm saying that, going by your postulation, that means the bigger spender takes the victory, right?
I didn't say that, but they all spend money.
But invariably,
Nigerians will still collect money from anyone.
Are you going to do anywhere in the world that you're not going to spend money?
I'm not talking about spending money. I'm talking about giving money to people,
and I am saying that we've had elections down in this country that people collect money from others and use that money that they've collected from someone they don't like to canvass for someone that they like to during elections. Of course, these are new realities, but they are beginning to happen. And I have confidence that if we are able to create a credible platform for our people, we are able to create a credible movement for our people, we are able to open our people's minds, they are able to see that when they collect money from politicians, they are invariably selling their future and the future of their children to those rogues. When we begin the conversation and they begin to realize that, look, it's the future of their children they are selling away, they will begin to think twice, because invariably they have seen now that either to the left or to the right is still the same old story. So Nigerians are looking for something new, something different. So, and I believe that the moment we are able to come up with something new and something different, you will see the Nigerian people, they will respond. But where there's a zero option situation, what do you want them to do? What is the difference between 6 and half a dozen? That's what we've been having in Nigeria in the last how many years?
I'm looking at the system that we have, particularly the political system. I'm going back to recruitment. Political system, you know that for anyone to become a president of Nigeria, even the current president said he didn't have the money to even get the form. That there is so much money you must have before you can even buy the form. If that persists, do you think the option you are trying to project will also be able to survive?
Well, I am not God, and I'm not going to grandstand here. Neither am I going to pontificate. I'm not going to go that route. I'm not going to give you guarantees, but I'm going to say one thing I'm going to take away is that one thing I want you to take away is that, hey, we are going to give our people options. If they now take it, good. If they don't take it, good. I mean, look, invariably, are we not in the same country together? So I'm not going to stand here and begin to, throw words with you against maybe, they're going to take it, they're not going to take it, they're going to be intelligent. I'm not going to do that. I have a duty. I have a mandate as a Nigerian to help the Nigerian people to help the psyche of the Nigerian masses. And I'm going to do that. So if the Nigerian people respond appropriately, well, that is left for them. But if there's a duty, my dear brother, we will do it.
Is Yinka Quadri a politician?
Well, so far, so good, no.
You started a politician before?
I have worked in a government. I have been with the government before.
Okay.
As a special assistant, but not in a political capacity. You know, and invariably I had issues, but it wasn't a political appointment.
What was your experience like?
Well, the experience was... It was a typical Nigerian government situation, and we ran it. It wasn't... to be honest with you, it was a typical Nigerian situation.
It seems to be you didn't enjoy it.
The reason I won't want to be judgmental about the government is simply because I want to leave the people the prerogative to take their decision, and they have taken their decision.
Did it conflict with your ethical position?
Oh yes, that I can say. I had issues of conflict of ethics. I had issues of confrontation. I had issues. I had conflicts all the time, all the while I was there. And that's not. And the man I served actually documented it in his own book. That I was at loggerheads with him all through the time I was there. You know, but I kept trying to see if. The lone voice could be heard. So I kept at it, and my boss then didn't like it, and he said so much in his book, in his memoir that he wrote on a sojourn in government. But
why I've flipped that up is because that system I was talking about was where you served, and you saw the system. You had an experience with that system, and that system has not changed.
You see, I agree with you that there's a problem with the Nigerian system. That's why I'm talking to you. I agree with you that there's a problem with the Nigerian nation as it is. That is why I'm talking to you. Otherwise, I'll be busy in a farm. I love to do farming. I was dreaming to becoming a farmer, an agriculturist. Hey, there's no gainsaying the fact that there is crisis everywhere in this country today as we speak. And that's why we are talking. So what I'm saying is, look, the past is the past. We know the past was wrong. We are saying from now on, we must begin to look at things differently. We must begin to do things differently. We must begin to challenge ourselves to reach out to the higher humanity in us as individuals. We must begin to stroke our consciences, to begin to respond. Look, we walk on the street, we see how people suffer every day. Everybody should become concerned, because hey, eventually the bubble is going to burst. The bubble will burst. Even if no matter the extent of your wealth, when the bubble bursts, everything is leveled. So it is even in the interest of the rich man, the interest of the senator, the interest of the governor, that the bubble does not burst. Though they are carrying on as if they don't care, as if they don't think and reason. But the truth is that it's even in their own interest. Because yes, a lot of them have built houses in the community. If the bubble bursts today, where do you think people are going to go first? So many of them have children, even if they are abroad. Are they not conscious of the heritage they want to hand over to their children? These are the things that should concern them, either they like it or not. Because the truth is that you can't, there's what in Yoruba land, what we call omoluabi. You can't buy it, and you can't transfer it to your children. You can't, it's not a subject of inheritance.
Okay, what do you see Nigeria become, and the dream that you're talking about?
Within the next few years, because of technological innovation, because of scientific advancement and all of that, in another 10 years, I see Nigeria as a nation where people are going to be fluxing back into. I see Nigeria where in another few years, the rush for visas will be minimized. Indeed, I see a Nigeria where some countries will begin to beg that Nigerians should come for holidays. I see that Nigeria very soon. It is possible because the resources are there. I have been around a bit in the world, not too many places, but I've been to some places. And to be honest with you, there is no one nation I have ever been to in my life that is as endowed as Nigeria is.
Maybe the endowment is our problem.
How can a benefit be your? How can a benefit except you are not thinking? How can your endowment be your problem?
Because we are endowed, we are not thinking.
You are not thinking not because you are endowed. There are people that are equally as endowed as we are, and they are thinking. I mean, look at Dubai there. Look at China there. There's some few countries that are equally as endowed as we are, and they are thinking and they are making useful things out of their lives.
So you see a prosperous Nigeria.
Oh, definitely.
You see
definitely
an egalitarian society.
Except there's no God. Because look, if you look at us, look at everything God has endowed us with. You'll be amazed. From human resource to natural resources to mineral resources to even the climate. Look at the land. Look, this is a country where you can plant 12 months in a year. There are some countries you can only plant for 3 months. There are some countries you can only plant for 6 months because of hostile and harsh climate, like snow. Some it's going to be drought, some is going to be flood, some is going to be earthquakes and all of that. Hey, what is the point of speaking big grammar on the pages of newspaper? You go to international conferences, you'll be speaking big English and big grammar. Everybody will be looking at you. They will be dazed, clapping and eulogizing you. Too much of English, my dear brother. It is high time we translated those ideas into action. Let all of these are intellectuals. All of these are leaders. I mean, the leaders in the knowledge industry. Let them come down. Let them begin to interact with our people. Let them begin to actually know where they should pinch. Look, because many of these English they even speak anyway. They don't even relate to the experiences of the people the experience of our people on ground. So what I'm going to suggest is that let those people who have capacity begin to offer themselves, so that people who are old I'm not trying to deride anybody. People who are old can go and rest at home. People can begin to fill the positions that they genuinely are fit to occupy. So let people who have capacity offer themselves in service. And it's all about sacrifice. It's all about sacrifice. They must be able to also give to the process. They must be willing to, because look, you can't get anything meaningful in life without sacrificing.
I know you are hopeful.
Yeah, I am.
Yinka Quadri, thank you for speaking with Splash FM.
Thank you very much, my dear brother.
I was speaking with Yinka Quadri, a human development and nation building freak who believes that Nigeria will flourish and be great in his own time. Once again, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
I'm Olwaseun Akinola. That's Insight for you this week. I'll join you next week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. It's still Insight, and Yinka Quadri is still here. I'm taking a bit of the political leadership, a little bit, and being critical about it, but I'm not taking leadership in isolation. Now, look at it this way. We have created a system in such a way that leaders will behave the way they behave because of the system which we have created. Let me give you an example. Our leadership recruitment process is so monetized that anyone who wants to be a leader must carry bags of money, and people are willing to collect money from him so that they can vote for him. So do you blame such a leader?
You see, it's very funny. In as much as I agree with you completely with this observation, the truth of leadership is that every season will produce its own leadership. Nigeria has had a season with the kind of leadership you are talking about. Now, my dear brother, there's a new season coming on. And you're going to begin to have new kinds of leaders, new sets of leaders who will need those bags of money.
Are we ready for such?
Well, I am not. It's not in my capacity to determine if we're ready or not. It's only in my capacity to do what I have to do as a man, as just one man, and leave the rest to Providence.
But do you see Nigerians ready to recruit leaders without gratification?
You don't recruit. Leadership the genuine leadership is not. Look, Nigeria became this bad because the leadership was beginning to get bad. It was all a factor of leadership. If from the time of independence, the leaders were not. Look. Maybe I should now be very frank with you. In time past, when you see our ministers going out to foreign conferences and stuff, don't you look at them? Don't you see that amongst all of the people that are there, that are always there, Nigerians will always appear to be the most extravagantly dressed, the most, they will stay in the best hotels, they will drive in the best, even doing international conferences. That shows that the culture that you are talking about now, the culture you are trying to condemn, was initiated and driven by these leaders, because most of them, with due respect, they don't really have much to show us. They don't have much content. So the only thing they fall back on are those ephemeral things. The kind of car I drive, the kind of house I have built, the kind of school abroad that my children attend. These are the things they use to support their very shallow and hollow egos. But how far can that take us? So invariably, the masses of the people on the street, they are seeing a governor that is going in a convoy of about 20 cars with lights revolving here and there and everybody and everywhere. And everybody's like, wow, that is the kind of mindset that they've got. Now, we're talking about a new set of leadership. We're talking about a new kind of society. Look, because you see, in any case, it is not a thing of choice that we have to reinvent this community called Nigeria. It's not a thing of choice. It is necessary, it is compulsory, it is inevitable. Otherwise, this country will collapse.
This system, can it survive?
This system cannot survive because this is look, it's like the Yoruba proverb that says, sorry, pardon me, because my non-Yoruba listeners.
Thick is killing itself, right?
You will help me with that because I'm not.
I'm sure. Okay.
Now, you see, when a louse, for instance, is feeding excessively on a dog or something,
it's killing the dog.
It's killing the dog invariably. But a wise one will feed on the dog softly and carefully so that the dog's life can be prolonged, so that its own life too can be prolonged. But if you abuse the opportunity of being able to feed on a dog and you've killed the dog, by the time the dog is dead and you're not able to quickly get another dog to latch on to, the louse is going to die. But unfortunately, nationhood is not such that you can jump from one nation to the other. Even when you have dual citizenship, you become a second-class citizen and at that other nation. That's the truth. So this is the one nation that we've got, and there's no nation we are going to jump ship into. Well, maybe some of us have the privilege of dual citizenship and of new citizenship, but lot of us,
how many?
God bless you, but a lot of us don't have. Therefore, this is the one thing that we've got. We've got to protect it. We've got to protect it, my dear brother.
So how are we going to protect it? How? Before you answer that question, how are we going to salvage Nigeria?
Wow, that is the billion dollar question. How are we going to salvage Nigeria? One fact I must establish is that nation building is not a tea party. It is going to be a tough job, but it's a job that some of us must take on to do. We must agree to willingly do it. Now, how do we solve the problem? Look, the emotions are going now. If you feel it all around the country, people are becoming dissatisfied, people are unhappy, people are frustrated, people are practically suffering everywhere. So they are asking questions unlike before. 5 years ago, if you talk about a new thing, nobody wants to listen to you. But today, as we speak, people are more willingly ready. They are more willing to listen to you than they were like some 5-10 years ago, because things have gotten so bad. Now it's a cumulative result of all our misadministrations of the past. So, and it's going to be futile for us to start to blame anybody here. what we need to do is, what is the solution? That's the question you've asked.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we solve it?
How do we salvage the nation?
So one of the things we need to do is to stop the blame game. Stop the blame game.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, I don't like. To be honest with you, there's none of the leaders of Nigeria since inception to date that I'm in love with. None. To be honest with you, none has been able to meet my standard. But that is not my problem. My problem is, look, there's a job for us to do. For those of us who have ideas, let us begin to think about coming up with ideas. And the downside to that is that don't just come with ideas, volunteer to activate those ideas. That's the only way we can solve the Nigerian problem. And it's a mind thing. It's a mind thing. And because you see, Nigeria is where we are today because of our mindset. Over the years, we are, in fact, some foreign citizens look at us and claim that we are the happiest people on earth and this and that.
Are we truly the happiest people on earth? I don't know.
Because we are thoughtless. I'm sorry to say, because the majority of us don't think painfully. You see, thinking also is not just a thing that every animal does. When there's something they call strategic thinking, it's a job. It is painful. When you engage in strategic thinking, my dear brother, it's a whole lot of pain. It's something you can. Well, in some instances they call it retreat, where you lock up yourself somewhere, maybe yourself alone or with a group of people, and you begin to engage in mental interaction. You begin to solve problems. So
an average Nigerian does not think.
No, an average. I'm not saying don't. I won't berate my people to that level, But we don't think rigorously enough.
We don't think deeply.
We don't think deeply enough, and that's the problem. We like the easy. When it comes to thinking, we love the easy way out. We get to the side of a mountain. We look at it. We can't climb it. We look at it. We feel it. We can't drill through it. And we're looking at the circumference. It's rather too wide. You know what a typical African will do? He will just stay where he is and go and look for oil
and survive there.
Oil, and begin to worship that mountain and say, okay, this is the mountain. Let me begin to worship and live here and pray that this mountain will protect me and provide for all my needs, and I'll be living by the mountain there. Meanwhile, we were inspired to go forward. We were inspired to sojourn much further. But we don't want anything that's going to give us stress. Sometimes we don't want it. That is the typical African for it. And I must be honest with ourselves.
So someone described Nigerians as Epicureans, that we love pleasure.
Do you think it's wrong?
Do you agree with that?
Do you think it's wrong? I mean, that Nigerians are typically fun-loving people. Do you think it's a wrong assessment? Where else in the world do they love life, even when it is a very messy one like we are living, and they are still happy with it? Where else in the world can this happen? If not in Nigeria and probably some other parts of Africa, where people are going to be this disempowered, where they are going to be this disenfranchised, where people are going to be this oppressed, where people are going to be... Look, does it not hurt us? Don't we feel it? That, look at the crisis of power generation, for instance. We have been on it for almost 20 years or more. 30 years. And it has been a regime of generators here and there. Now, it's not about having the money to afford the fuel and the diesel that the generator needs to power itself. Look at the resultant fumes that is released into the air. Do we cost this? Do we think it is right? Why are we happy? Look, when there's no power, an average Nigerian is ready to go and is happy to go and get a generator, put in his house, and that's fine. But you see, if we think well enough, we will realize that even the generator we buy is shortchanging our own lives, ourselves. Because it is the same air that we breathe that we pollute. These are significant issues that an average Nigerian won't bother about. So long as he can provide power for himself and his family, in his his house, it's fine. But We must begin to think very rigorously.
Well, how do we challenge such a process? Now, you've mentioned one critical factor, critical institution that is not working in Nigeria: the power generation, power distribution, and the rest. And I'm sure you can cast your mind back into 2-3 administrations, how much has been sunk into power generation in Nigeria, and the resultant effect, or the result that we've got. I was reading the paper recently, and what we are generating right now is even less than 4,000 megawatts, and we spent so much money on it. South Africa, which is less than our population, had over 40,000 megawatts of power to distribute to its people. We're both Africans. Why is it so difficult for us?
My dear brother, I will only clap for these people that you're talking about. Why? Because they have done their best. Look, from Nnamdi Azikiwe, who was the president then during independence, to ceremonial president and all of that, through the military administrations and all of that till date, the least I can do is clap for these people, because look, they have done their best. Because you won't ask any one of them and they will say, no, I haven't done anything. Well, I haven't tried my best. I was just there playing. They have done their best. But now we are saying that it is high time Nigerians realize that sometimes people's best may not be good enough for us. That's a critical way I want us to look at some of these issues. Yes, some governors, we've had local government chairmen, we've had presidents. They have tried their best and they are still trying their best. Look, it is for us now to say, look, hey, your best, yes, you've tried your best, we'll clap for you, you've done well, but what you have done, the best you have done, is not good enough for us. So we want something new. And the challenge that we have now is, how do we create that new leadership? And there are two ways to go about it. One is to convince the people who are there now to change their mindset and begin to see leadership as no longer a personal thing, but a responsibility towards a collective interest. In the absence of that, then we begin to look at the option of throwing up new leadership, new leaders who will come in and say, look, this is what we can do. This is the collective, who can then come up and identify our collective interest. And one of the most critical things that we want to do is come up with that new Nigeria dream, for instance. Because we don't have one. Before now, we don't have one. And if you're going to ask people to rise up and follow you to do something, they must know what they want to follow you to do. If you're asking for people to follow you to a place, they want to know where you're taking them. So the first thing we want to do is come up with a documentation, a comprehensive one that can encapsulate the new Nigeria dream. Until we are able to have a dream that can bring all of us together as a people, we will not start.
And that's it on this edition of Insights on Splash 105.5 FM, the integrity station. I hope you'll join me on Monday for another exciting edition. For comments, inquiries, and suggestions, to send me an email on sakinola@splashfm1055.com. sakinola@splashfm1055.com. My Twitter handle @Sheung Omakinola @Sheung Akinola. Let's keep the conversation going. Toby Oresanwo has been the studio manager, and I wish you a lovely day ahead.